Ah, nice and warm in here. Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Well, March seems to be going out like a lion this year. It's going out with a winter storm. Today I'm going to be repotting my Norway Maple bonsai. Here's a look at my Norway Maple. It started out life from a seed in the front garden, and it grew in the ground for about 10 years, and then I dug it up and began the bonsai training. Everything was going really well with the tree until one really cold winter. We had a record cold, minus 34 degrees Celsius, and I think it froze the root system. The next year it had a really tough time coming back out into bud. I remember it budded really late in the summer, and it's been slowly gaining strength since, and in the meantime I've gotten a lot of dieback in the top of the tree. So lately it's been recovering. The vigor's been coming back. The buds are looking really good. So I'm thinking I'm going to repot it, and I'm going to check out the root system and see if there's maybe a lot of dead, rotted roots under the soil level. I don't know. We'll see. Wooden boxes make really good training pots. If the wooden box is still in good condition, I may just repot the maple right back in the wooden box. If it's starting to look a little iffy, if it's starting to rot out, I've got a mica training pot that I can put the tree in. The tree is getting a nice root base, a nice flare here. I hope all the roots are in good shape. So let's get it out of the pot now. I'm quite sure that the roots will have kind of grown into the wood. So I'm going to loosen up the edges with this butter knife here. And we'll see what this root system is like. Now the maple has been protected here in the greenhouse this winter, so the roots should be in really good shape. So I'm hoping, a good root pruning, fresh soil in here, and the maple will grow really well this summer. Okay, I've got the tree loosened up now, so I'm going to try and lift it out of the box. So here I go. Yeah, it's coming. Here it goes. I think those roots are just kind of attached to the bottom quite firmly. Come on. Maybe it's my box that's falling apart. Come on. There it goes. There we go. Wow. So, there's a look at my box. The wood's quite soft and the roots were growing into the box. But it's still fairly solid. It could be used again. And here's my roots. Wow, it's really filled this pot. There's my drainage screen in the bottom. All right, well, I'll save this moss. This is really nice moss. I've got a lot of worms in the soil, grubs. There's a look at the grubs. I'm not sure what they are, but I think I'll get them out of there. We'll get new soil. There's another grub I found. Now, they could be harmless. I don't know. Sometimes I get crane fly larvae in my bonsai pots. Crane flies are those big bugs that look like mosquitoes, giant mosquitoes. And yeah, I don't think they're really harmful for the tree. They might nibble on the roots a bit. I don't know. I think they mainly eat decayed organic matter, because they all seem to be up near the surface, near the moss here. Yeah, I can see the grubs are just mainly in the moss here, just in that soil below the moss. So I don't think they're eating the roots. I think they're just eating the moss as it decays. We'll find out. If I comb through the roots here and I find more of these grubs in the soil, we'll know, well, maybe they're doing some damage, but I don't think so. Because I've encountered these before in some of my pots, and the tree's doing fine. I don't think it's the cause of this tree's demise. I think it has more to do with the cold, is what I suspect. I'll put all the moss back in the wooden box here. Oh, there's another grub. And the grubs, I think, I don't have the heart to put them outside in the cold winter, so I'll put them back in the box here too with the moss, and they can live there for now. My next step is to comb out the soil from the root base. All right, I'm beginning to comb out the roots now. Seems to be lots of good, healthy, fine roots. Lots of weeds. I checked the playlist on this tree. This tree was last repotted into this wooden box on April of 2017, so 5 years ago. And I checked the playlist, and it said that that year, after the repotting, we got a really cold spell that killed off all the tip buds that were coming out, and it had to back bud, and it may have killed off some of the roots too. I don't know, but it had a rough time after that. So, yeah, I hope the tree regains its strength. I hope it becomes a strong tree once again, because it has a lot of potential, I think. You know, even though it's a Norway maple, not a traditional bonsai subject, they can become really beautiful trees. Any of the maples can. So quite a dense root cube here. Looks like it's lots of roots. And so far the roots look quite healthy. I think, you know, I don't see any damaged, rotted roots, but that may come later. That may be underneath, I don't know. Now, because this is so dense, I could use my root rake here and just comb out, but I think the root hook is a better tool to use. So I'll get out the root hook. All right, so I'll just come in and just kind of try and get these roots sorted out. Comb them out. You can see in here that the perlite is broken down into a finer powder. And that's just like akadama. The roots grow into the perlite particles and they split it and split it again, and it becomes a finer and finer soil as the tree gets older and the root system gets older, which is quite good for bonsai. Yeah, it really is good. So this tree, it's been root pruned. Since I dug it up from the ground, it's been root pruned, I think 4, maybe even 5 times. So that's, generally after that many root prunings, you start to get a pretty good root base, at least your surface roots anyway. And you can see they're quite nice looking on this tree. Just gonna check out the bottom. The bottom has a huge drainage screen here, which I think I might just have to cut off. It's huge. Yeah, I'm slowly peeling this drainage screen off the bottom. There's a lot of roots going through it. I'll have to do a little cutting. I don't use these one-piece drainage screens in the bottom of pots anymore because of this reason. The roots tend to get intertwined with them and they're really hard to get out. Whereas if you just use little ones, there's no problem. There it is. There's my drainage screen from the bottom, intertwined with the roots. I won't be using that one again. So now I can start combing out the root base from the bottom. A really cold night tonight. We're going down to minus 11 Celsius, which I think is about 12 or 11 degrees Fahrenheit. Pretty cold, especially for this time of the year. Okay, I'm going to get rid of all this soil that I've got combed out so far, kind of clean up a bit, and then keep going on the roots. All right, I'll keep going. Okay, I think, now, right now this tree was growing in basically a square training box. So I can definitely prune around the perimeter. I think I will put it in this mica pot. It's a deep pot, I think it's got enough surface area to fit the roots in. I guess I'll see when I've got all the roots reduced, but I'm going to prune around the perimeter just to get rid of some of these long root ends. Okay, more combing required now. Yeah. Getting a lot of soil out. So I can trim back some of these roots on the bottom. They're getting a little long, you know, the ones going straight down. No more raking. So yeah, so there's no grubs in the soil. It was just, they were just feeding on the decaying moss. No problems. Well, the root base is really getting reduced now. A little more pruning of some of these ones going down. Okay, some more pruning. Flattening it out once again, getting down further. I want to get right down to the base of the tree, the woody part of the trunk. And that's about as flat as you can get your root system. So, you know, in future, if you have to go into a shallow pot, your root system's all ready for that. Or kind of a display pot. Okay, I'm going to do a little more root pruning now before I wash them. I prefer to wash them first, but if I get it reduced back far enough, I can fit it in the bucket for cleaning. So I'll take some of these long ones back. Some of these ones that are going strange directions can get pruned off. I want to avoid long straight roots. I want them short and then subdividing, just like branches on a tree. And you can tell a Norway maple because they get that milky white sap on them. Here's an example of a long root. There's not much subdivision, no movement. It just goes straight, the same diameter. So it's got to get pruned back hard like that. And then new roots will grow from the tip and it'll look quite awesome in future. Now, here's a root that's a little high, but I guess it's all right. We'll just prune it back. Reduce this back in size. Getting there. It's getting more compact. Bit of profile pruning here. Ooh, something hard in there. Where's my pruners gone? Right over here. Yes, a little long here. There. There's a thick root in there. Here's another long one. Straight and long, so I got to get it pruned back. This one's kind of like that too. I'm thinking it'd be better to remove that one. So I am. Like that. I might even have to cut that back a little further. Like that. That'll heal over nicely. This one's a little high too. Might have to do something with that, but I'll wash them first. Okay, I think this is small enough. I can fit it in the bucket and wash the root system. All right, here I go washing the root base and trying to get it, all the old soil out. So I'll just kind of get in here with the root rake and kind of, get these roots combed out a bit. Get all those pockets of soil that are stuck between roots out. So far it's a good looking root system. I'm quite pleased with it. All right, I'm going to begin the root work now. So let's have a look at it. I need my toothbrush here to get rid of some of this moss that's growing on the roots. Clean that up. So the roots all look healthy. I don't know what the setback was. I know in the video it said that in spring the leaves came out and then we got a cold spell and all the buds died off and it had to back bud. So maybe it just weakened the tree. So let's start here. I've got a root that comes here and it crosses a whole bunch of roots. Let's get rid of that. I'm not a fan of crossing roots, especially major surface roots. That wasn't really a major one, but here again I have two roots crossing each other. This root is kind of high. It doesn't really flow down from the root base, so I'm going to remove that one. Like that. Now I will have to clean that cut point up. I've got my spherical knob cutters. And I can get in there and just kind of clean that up a bit. Like that. Okay, that takes care of those crossing roots. Coming around, I'm just doing the surface roots first. And then we'll kind of work on some of the others as it goes further into the root pruning. I need my little root rake here. Just sort these out here. Listen to that wind howling away outside. Okay, so everything looking pretty good along here. This one's not, true radial, but it's not bad. Now down here, I've got some roots that have, it looks like they've grown between these other two roots. They're kind of stuck in there. And this root is very thick. If you see it, it kind of starts out fairly thin here and then it gets really thick. Not liking that root. I'm going to start by putting this bottom portion away. Like that. See how that root was kind of like, almost like a ficus root? It was sort of getting a little bulbous looking. So it's still not the greatest, but... And now I've got this root coming down here. If I rotate the root system around, all the surface roots are quite nice, and that one kind of sticks out. That it kind of comes from quite high up and it's very thick. The other one is this one over here, kind of sticks out a bit. However, I don't think it's that bad. This one, I don't think I have anything much below it that's good. Whereas this one, there's some good roots below it. So I'm wondering if I should remove that root entirely. I think I should, and I will. So here I go. I'm going to try, what am I going to try? I'm going to cut it away first. Like that. gets rid of that part of it. Looks like there is some really nice roots below it, so I think this will be a successful and a good operation. It'll improve the tree a lot. So just getting that root off, giving the tree a nice area to heal over there. Like that. That should be quite nice. Some good roots below. Yeah, it's really, I think that'll really improve the root base. Now let's deal with this one. I don't have a lot of roots in this area of the tree. It's a little bit lacking on this side, but you know, it does have roots and they will thicken up. But this one's getting too thick. I've got a big strong one here. I got a big strong one here and one here. So I'm definitely, this is the radial direction coming out here. So this root's good, but this one kind of goes off. So I'm going to remove that one. And I'm going to rough cut it off first. Like that. Get rid of all this congestion here. Then I can come in and clean that up a bit. So the idea is to get this root to appear less bulbous and thick. And you know, pruning it right off might be the solution. I think it is. I think I have some roots maybe below. I got to get rid of this. It's too, doesn't look good. So let's try for a cut here on the angle. Let's see what happens. Pretty hard to get on an angle there. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to nibble it away. Can't really get my tool in there very well. So we'll just nibble it away. I think this will improve the root system. That one kind of stood out as a... So I can see in the middle of this root some dead wood. So I think that root, part of it must have died back at one time. I think that's going to look much better. And this will heal over. It'll just take a little time. So there is a part of the root coming from the bottom there that I'll keep alive, and then eventually it'll roll over and heal that wound up. So that's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'd say my worst roots now, I've got that bulbous one here. I think I've got to get rid of that, at least prune it off short. So here I go. Like that. Getting that bulbous part of it off. So now I can grow some finer roots coming out. So I can divide from one thick root into two, two into four, and so on. Just like your branch structure. You always want to divide your roots so they get finer and finer as they reach the edge of the pot. Now there's one root here. It's kind of growing on a funny angle. I don't like it. I'm going to get rid of it. This one right here. It's a cool looking root, but it's just not, it was kind of growing out and then it curved back in. It wasn't very flowing. Now, up here I've got a small root. It's kind of growing between two roots. I think I'm going to get that out. It's looks a little congested in that area. You know, just like branches, you can have too many roots coming from one spot and it just looks like, instead of nice, it looks kind of messy. Like here's an example. I've got 1, 2, 3 roots all growing beside each other. I don't need that many roots all in one area, so I'm going to get rid of the one that's kind of sticking up here. So then I'll just have 2 roots from that area, which, you know, still aren't the greatest, but it'll be okay. Here's a root that kind of comes sticking up and then it curls around, so I'll get rid of that one. This one's kind of sticking up too. We'll get rid of that. I want it flowing down. Always flowing down. Here's another root that crosses over top of the one below. I'm going to try and reposition it if I can. No, I think it's got to come off. There's better roots below. Comes off. I gotta cut this one off shorter. A little trimming here too. Just trim off some of these ones sticking up. So this is the weak side of the tree. You know, not a lot of strong roots coming from this side, but it does have roots. They will thicken up if I just let them develop. Okay, well, the root base is looking pretty good. I think I'm happy with the root base. I'm going to give it a final wash. All right, let's get this root base washed here. It looks like this mica pot is plenty big enough for the tree now. I've reduced the root system back far enough. So I'm going to pick out a front for the tree. This will be very interesting. It's actually pretty good there. This is the weak side of the root system, but I get that trunk line coming up. Yeah, the root system isn't the greatest in this view, but you know, it'll be buried to here, so you won't see all the flare goes to each side and to the back. The front is a little abrupt, but you know, these roots will develop and thicken up. So I think that's how I should plant it. The tree will look quite decent with that kind of flowing trunk line. All right, so I'm going to get drainage screens in the pot, clean the pot up a bit. I'll dip that in the pail and clean that up, get drainage screens in, a base layer of soil, and then we'll come and plant the tree. I've got the 2 drainage screens in the bottom of the pot, so I'll add that base layer of soil. This is a Korean mica pot. They're very good. They never break in winter. They'll last you the rest of your life. All right, in goes the base layer of soil. This will get the soil level up to my planting height. I don't want the tree planted too deeply and not too high up either, so just right. Now I'm going to test the tree out to see how high it is. So that present moment it's too low. I want it about here. Let me see. Ooh, a little high, but not bad. So I'll have it over to the left-hand side. I'll show you that from the front. There's a look at the tree. This is what I thought would make a nice front for it. Kind of all that scarring or dead wood is at the back. Hopefully that'll heal up someday. The roots look quite nice from this view. So I think that's a pretty good height. I just got to lower it a bit more. So I'll begin filling in the soil now. Okay, some more soil. Good thing I mixed up lots of bonsai soil. This pot's taking a lot of it. The bigger the tree, the more soil you need. Tree's feeling nice and firm in the pot. I think I've got all the air spaces out. So I'm just going to level out the soil. It's actually looking like a pretty good level of soil in here. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, let's have a final look at it before I water the tree. Here's a look at the tree from the distance. You can see how tall that leader is. I hope that really grows and starts healing those wounds at the back. I'll show you a close-up of the trunk. Here's more of a close-up. You can kind of see maybe where the final height of the tree would be. Kind of getting a canopy on top of it. I think it's looking quite nice. I think it's made some good steps forward today. I'm going to water the tree now. All right, here I go. I'll spin the tree around now so you can see it from all angles. So here I go. And back to the front. It's always nice to get a tree out of its wooden training pot into more of a bonsai pot. You can kind of see a future vision for the tree, kind of get you more excited about the tree for the future. So I think this tree's come a long way today. Got that root system sorted out once again. Got a nice front view of the tree, and it's in a better looking pot. That's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.